happy that it actually was officially signed. Both of them prepared long and hard for it. So when I heard Daniel Dubois ill, immediately I think he's not fighting. So there was a statement that went out saying he was with doctors, he'd be assessed, and then a further statement or something would be made. I knew there and then when I hear a fighter's ill.
You know what? I think the whole bill is mad. The whole bill, any one of these fights, well, the early two, because these are young novices, any one of these fights, you could put anywhere, and they could top a bill. And we're talking about the heavyweight fight, and so it's the top of the bill. It's not even the top of the bill.
He's been a dog ever since that fight, you know, and
yeah, and they say as soon as he pulls out of this fight, oh, he's a quitter, he's ducking, they can't wait to say that, but it also just doesn't make sense based on the run he's on and the quality of fighters that he has beaten, stopped.
I think, look, in some fights he has shown that he has shied away from the challenge in some situations, yeah. But in others, again, it swings and roundabouts with him. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, because in other fights he has proven bit down, like Hrgovic, for example, and got stuck into that where it was a back and forth fight. He was getting tagged a few, and
Shocking scenes in the heavyweight division as Daniel Dubois once again pulls out, leaving fans and fighters stunned. Boxing pros are not holding back this time, openly questioning his consistency and mentality, while Fabio Wardley is being praised for staying ready and showing real fighting spirit.
The story of dreams. It's wonderful. It's a great chance for him. And then to have what happened yesterday with Daniel Dubois off, looking for a replacement, and in steps the most dangerous heavyweight outside the sort of title.
I'm pissed off as well, but shit happens, and it's one of them things.
Adam Smith's reaction to this pullout suggests even he didn't expect things to unfold this way. But the bigger issue is Daniel Dubois once again stepping away at a crucial moment. Boxing pros are starting to see this less as bad luck and more as a concerning pattern.
Just because he's trained, for the IBF heavyweight title challenge, but he wants to fight. He wants to appear on the show. I didn't think what would happen next would happen.
And you've got to go forward no matter what. So you want to go forward, and hopefully he recovers and gets better soon.
The lesson in that is, the fighters that are at home, that dip in and out of the gym, or they do this as a part-time thing, and they try and cheat boxing. You can play every sport in the world, golf, football, tennis, whatever. You can't play boxing, because it's the only place, as Brendan says, you can legally get killed. So therefore you've got...
Don Charles is essentially explaining that Daniel Dubois is currently dealing with an injury and is not in a condition to fight right now. However, boxing insiders are not fully convinced by this explanation and are treating it as another setback that adds more pressure and questions around Dubois' consistency.
Yeah, he's changed. Of course he's changed, he's evolved. He's not the same fighter that I had. I won't expand... I'm not at liberty to expand on what the relationship was. He's not the same fighter, of course. He's evolved, he's developed. He's a current world champion.
Is scrapped. Dubois had to pull out due to an illness.
Frank Warren is clearly describing complete chaos behind the scenes, confirming that the decision came very late and nobody was fully prepared for it. The frustration is obvious as he highlights how this situation has disappointed fighters, promoters, and especially the fans who were expecting a major fight night.
The people direct and then make a decision if he's out.
Okay. When did you first learn about this, Frank?
Very late this afternoon.
Okay, so it's been a stressful day.
To say the least. For the fighters as well. It's a shame for the fighters, for everybody involved. TV companies, and more importantly for the fans. Riyadh season, His Excellency, everybody involved with this. We're all gutted, but what can you do? That's
Adam Smith is pointing out the uncertainty around Daniel Dubois, suggesting he is going through a very difficult emotional and physical phase. But in the boxing world, this just adds more confusion and frustration because fans are still left without clear answers on why he keeps pulling out of big fights.
To go to try and climb back up again. Who did he lose to is the question. He lost to a generational great, somebody who's going to go down as one of the best to have ever gloved up in the name of Alexander Usyk.
Eddie Hearn is clearly admitting that this situation is extremely difficult to control or resolve. His words reflect uncertainty, and it adds more pressure on Daniel Dubois' side, as even top promoters are struggling to defend or explain the repeated pullouts.
Well, we'll see what happens, but that's for them to overcome now, and it's a very difficult situation.
Johnny Fisher is openly criticizing Daniel Dubois' skill level, questioning whether he truly has the ability to compete at the top level. This kind of straight talk adds more heat to the situation, especially after another high-profile fight pull out.
You know, Daniel Dubois, he just can't really get right. You know, he has no real skill. Pretty durable chin. Art is kind of questionable. But
Liam Goff is highlighting the confusion around Daniel Dubois' injury situation, with even basic details not being clear. This lack of transparency is only making fans and pros more skeptical about whether the pullout was fully justified or not.
Months of inactivity. That's really it. So, Moses Atelma, he's not out of the fight. It's just rescheduled for 2 months. Now, I'm seeing, that's what the Ring are saying. If we go on their X account, I believe it actually says that he suffered an ankle injury, where for a fighter who uses his feet an awful lot, it doesn't say it there. I don't know where. I'm sure I seen that Atelma suffered some sort of ankle injury. Maybe I was just seeing things with that one. But he is injured. It's not really specifying. I don't know why. I'm sure I saw it was ankle, but maybe not. Maybe I was just seeing things.
Frank Warren is laying out the harsh financial reality behind Daniel Dubois pulling out of this fight, and it sounds even worse when you break it down. Entire training camps involve massive investment, from sparring partners to nutritionists and full support teams, all built around one night. When a fighter pulls out at the last moment, it is not just disappointment, it is a complete financial collapse for everyone involved. In the boxing world, this kind of disruption damages trust, and Dubois is now being linked with repeated situations like this, which raises serious questions about reliability at elite level.
You know, he's a big fight, he's trained very hard. If you don't fight, you don't get paid. You imagine the cost involved in a training camp, you know, booking places to set the camp up, bringing the sparring partners in, the nutritionists, the chefs, trainers and everybody, and you don't get paid. It's a massive loss. You can't insure it, or if you do, it costs a fortune to insure, but very, very disappointing.
Johnny Nelson is actually giving Daniel Dubois credit for being in the right phase of his career, suggesting confidence and timing are on his side. But that confidence narrative now looks questionable after yet another fight withdrawal. In boxing, momentum is everything, and when a fighter keeps stepping away from big opportunities, that momentum disappears quickly. Critics are now arguing that no matter the physical talent, consistency is what defines elite fighters, and Dubois is struggling badly in that department right now.
He's technically the better boxer. The better fighter is Daniel Dubois. And Daniel Dubois is at the right age, right part of his time. He's had the right run lately to go in there as a confident fighter. You know, fighters have to do certain things to get themselves to believe in themselves, believe that they're capable of doing. You know, that his run of last 3 fights has made this guy think, I can walk through walls. So this is the right time for Daniel.
Andy Lee is adding another layer of doubt by suggesting injuries may be more common than fans realize. But in the context of Daniel Dubois pulling out, it only increases speculation. In boxing, injuries are part of the sport, but when they repeatedly appear at key moments, questions naturally follow. This is where frustration builds, because fans are left unsure whether it is genuine physical setback or poor fight preparation. Either way, Dubois' situation is now being viewed with growing suspicion by parts of the boxing community.
You know, you're likely to pick up injuries, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys are going in there with some sort of injury.
Johnny Nelson is addressing the chaos of rumors and misinformation surrounding the fight cancellation, but the damage is already done. Even if some claims are fake news, the constant confusion creates an unstable environment around Daniel Dubois' career decisions. In boxing, perception matters just as much as reality, and right now the perception is becoming messy, with too many unanswered questions and conflicting stories around his pullouts.
Yesterday, something popped up and we said it's fake news that the fight was off and all this sort of stuff was going on about some poisoning, scandal, foolishness, and they tried to shut this thing down. And I'm saying that's fake news. I'm not having that. So let's wait and see. If it's true, that's a shame.
Adam Smith is trying to put the situation into perspective by calling it part of the fight business, but even he acknowledges it should not be happening at this level. The bigger issue is that repeated disruptions like this start to damage the credibility of fighters involved, and Daniel Dubois is now at the center of that discussion. Fans are no longer just reacting to one incident, they are starting to connect a pattern that is becoming hard to ignore.
You know, twice as big for the casual fans. Do we condone it? I mean, in boxing terms, should that happen at a head-to-head? Of course not, but these things do happen. This is the fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next.
Spencer Oliver is basically reminding everyone how serious the fight game really is, where medical clearance decides everything. But in Daniel Dubois' case, this explanation is not calming the situation, it is actually raising more debate. Fans are questioning whether this was a genuine injury that required a full withdrawal or just a precaution that came at the worst possible moment. In elite boxing, timing is everything, and pulling out of a major fight like this instantly shifts perception. The hurt business logic makes sense, but critics are now pointing out that Dubois has been in similar situations before, which is why trust in his fight consistency is being questioned more heavily than ever.
Okay, but he will have seen the doctor, and the doctor will make that decision on whether he should fight or whether he shouldn't fight. I mean, listen, this is the hurt business. You can only go in there 100%. So
Ade Oladipo is openly admitting confusion over the entire situation, which shows how unclear everything around Daniel Dubois' withdrawal has become. When even boxing media insiders say the situation is crazy and hard to understand, it highlights how poorly communicated everything has been. This lack of clarity is now feeding more speculation, with fans and analysts trying to piece together what really happened. In boxing, uncertainty like this often damages a fighter's reputation more than the actual injury itself, and Dubois is now at the center of that growing confusion and criticism.
If I did know something about this, I would absolutely not say I knew anything about this. This is one of those ones that go over my pay grade, over my head, and over everything else. So I will, like most people, just wait and see how this plays out. It does sound...
This whole situation around Daniel Dubois pulling out of the Fabio Wardley fight has quickly turned into a major talking point in boxing, with pros, promoters and fans all questioning what is really going on. Some are pointing towards injury concerns, while others believe the timing and repeated nature of these withdrawals is becoming a serious issue for his credibility. In a sport like boxing where momentum, discipline and consistency define a fighter's reputation, these last-minute changes create doubt and frustration, especially when big fights fall apart. Fabio Wardley's side of the story only adds more tension because fans feel they have been denied a major heavyweight clash that had real stakes and excitement attached to it. Now the pressure is building on Dubois to either prove that these setbacks are genuine and unavoidable or risk being seen as unreliable at the highest level. At this point, the discussion is no longer just about one fight, it is about his overall career direction and whether he can handle elite-level expectations moving forward. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is far from over and boxing fans clearly want answers.